Schwartz, and my name is Gil Schwartz, and I'm here to introduce you to BelloNGO.com. BelloNGO aims to solve two parallel global problems. On the one hand, you have students who want to travel and who want to work on social causes, but they just can't afford to travel. They can't afford to go to work, right? On the other hand, you have all these NGOs in America and across the world who need help on various projects, but can't afford to pay for that help under current market schemes, right? So our mission is essentially to bridge these two communities, right? We want to enable students to travel affordably while making a difference. How are we going to do this? We're going to use a proven business model. We're going to create a marketplace, right? If you look at this graph, this is essentially all the marketplaces that Craigslist has, right? You can see all these successful companies, Airbnb, StubHub, they've all grown up and really carved a niche out of specific marketplaces that are out there. But if you look carefully, you see this nonprofit sector jobs, it's wide open. No one's doing it. This is the sector that we're going to hit. This is the one we're going to dominate. In essence, we're going to be an Airbnb for nonprofit jobs. All right? Now, we need a lot of market research to validate this idea and prove that people are interested. All right? We surveyed over 100 students, and we also talked to 7 NGOs in 4 cities, even though it was a Saturday. And the results were really amazing, right? There were a ton of synergies. If you look at these categories that we talked about, duration, time commitment, skill set, payment, essentially the needs and the wants of the students really matched up well with the needs and the wants of the NGOs, right? And also, we just put up a Facebook group like 2 hours ago. Brian, I think, what's the latest number on this? 101. 101, all right, so this thing is going gangbusters, right? Now, you asked, you're an NGO, why should you go with us, right? Because essentially, if you can't find work, if you can't find good people through your own networks right now, you have really one option. You go to a temp agency, and the temp agency charges you some exorbitant fee, right? That exorbitant fee comes on top of what you have to pay the guy who's trying to make a living, right? If you're a student, the students we talk to say, you know what, I get a lot of social currency from working for this NGO and making money while I'm traveling. So I'm willing to accept lower monetary compensation, right? The student's willing to accept lower monetary compensation. We can cut down the fees, and we can save the NGO money, right? That's what NGOs care about. And in addition, by hiring students, I'm an NGO in New York. I hire someone from California. I now have that person's California network. He becomes an advocate for me out there. I don't get that if I hire locally. So now we're going to pass it off to Amit, and he's going to talk more about the business model.
So you've already seen that we can save NGOs some money, maintain a healthy margin for ourselves, and subsidize student travel. But how does that work in practice? On the left, you've got on the left, you've got an NGO that has a willingness to pay about $400 for a 2-week stint out in, let's call it, San Francisco. Probably about 20 hours a week for 2 weeks, some $10 an hour, something like that. They're willing to pay that because the current marketplace, that's still a savings for them. That's still a 20–30% savings for them. Now, we take that and we say, there's a student out there who really wants to work for the New Leaders Council, who really finds that cause attractive, and is willing to do that 2-week job for about $200 instead. So, and they also get to go out to SFO. I mean, this is where we find this student who's here in Chicago, wants to go out to San Francisco. So we say, here's a job posting for you. You take your $200 subsidy on your San Francisco trip, and we find a healthy margin for ourselves in the middle for the remaining $200 that the NGO is willing to pay happily because they're saving some money. So how does it work in practice? We have a bit of a website demo for you. This is kind of your landing page, and if you're a student, you click on students. You may want to search by cause or location, so maybe you go to cause. I like environmental causes, so let's go there. And you would see a few postings that would be there. You would have sort of a location, where it is, what the date range they're looking for temp jobs is for, the type of work that they're looking to do, which, as Gil said, matches up in our survey. Everyone's willing to do administrative work. And you know, there would be some compensation options there as well. So this is just one sample that you're looking at for a particular company. So that's just how the website would work. Now, so you know how we can make money, you know why people want to do this. How are we going to actually execute against this plan? What are we actually going to do in the next month, 2 months, 6 months? We're going to work to influence the influencers. You have to build a 2-network model here. You need students and you need NGOs. The reason this doesn't happen today is because if I have an individual conversation with a student, it might be lukewarm. If I have an individual conversation with an NGO, I can't get any traction quickly. But if I go to the foundations and the umbrella organizations that have relationships with 10, 15, 100, 200 NGOs, and I say, look, we have a product for you. And if I go to a university, that all these universities are always looking for an edge, they're always looking to compete better. And if we say we can create a new exchange program customized to your school and your strengths, and we build you that advantage, we get 100, 200,000 students just by talking to the top 10 schools listed by their undergraduate population. And so in short, we want to save money and change the world.